Come on, Maya. Come on. Hi, guys. How are you doing today? I'm going to read you an awesome story today that you are going to love. It is called Stella and Steve Travel Through Space. Now, I'm going to hold the book up close so you can see. Why do you think I love this book? Did you say because it has a pug in it? Yes, you are correct. It has a pug in it. And the funniest thing is the pug's name is Steve. Isn't that funny, Maya? And the little girl's name is Stella. So here we go. It's written by James Duffet Smith and illustrated by Bethany Straker. Now, as I'm reading, don't forget to make the connections when we read that we do automatically, but be aware that your mind is making connections to the story. Text to text, when you read a book and you think of something else you have read, it reminds you of something else. Text to self is when you read and something in the story reminds you of something you've done yourself. And text to the world, something that you read that reminds you of something that you've heard out there on the news or in the world. So don't forget, as I'm reading this story, make your minds make those connections. It helps you comprehend the story, it helps you understand, it helps you relate to the characters in the story, and it helps you remember the story. Okay, so it's very important. So here we go. Stella and Steve Travel Through Space. One cold, rainy day, Stella and her dog Steve were stuck inside. Stella was bored. Have you ever been bored when it's raining outside? I wish I lived somewhere else, said Stella. Steve went over to the shelf and found a book on the solar system. I want to live on another planet, she cried. I don't think you like living on another planet, Steve said. Oh, I want to go to Mercury, Stella said. Steve sighed. That's the closest planet to the sun. It's so hot there that your hair would catch on fire and your space boots would melt. Wow, Maya, did you know that? Steve is one smart pug. Well, I can't go there, Stella agreed. Let's go to Venus instead. Steve replied. After the sun and the moon, Venus is the brightest thing in the sky, but it rains acid and it's hot, and the pressure in the atmosphere would crush you. My goodness, couldn't live there. Stella yelped, yikes, that's not a good idea. What about Mars? Mars is cold, dead, and lonely, Steve sighed. Some people thought there could be life there, but if there is, no one has been able to find it yet. Stella thought for a moment, how about the dwarf planet Ceres? That might be a nice place to live. There is no atmosphere on Ceres, Steve said, and the gravity is so weak that you would float off into space and you might get hit by a passing asteroid. Jupiter it is then, Stella said. It looks amazing. Steve laughed. You wouldn't be able to stand on the surface. Jupiter is the biggest of all the planets and it's made of gas. And you would be sucked into the enormous storms, into the great red spot and crushed by gravity. Oh boy. What about one of Jupiter's moons? Stella asked. There's lots of them. You don't want to live on any of them. Some of them are volcanic. And they are made of rock and ice. And all the other moons are too small. Saturn looks nice, Steve. Look at its fantastic rings. We could go skating. Saturn, too, is big and made of gas like Jupiter, Steve sighed. And the rings aren't solid, but rather made of billions of chunks of ice and rock. Even I can't skate on them. Well, Saturn has lots of moons too. I'm sure we could live on one of them. You couldn't live on any of them, Stella. None of them have life and they are thick with ice, and none of them look habitable. Stella groaned. What about Titan then? It's Saturn's largest moon and even has rivers. Steve smiled. It does, but they aren't made of water. The rivers have liquid in them called methane and ethane, and you can't drink that. And it rains methane too, and it's so cold that it will burn you. You wouldn't like it there. Oh, they're not having any luck, are they, with these planets? What other planets are left? There are Uranus and Neptune, Steve replied, but both are large and cold and far from the sun, and they are made of gas. So you couldn't stand anywhere. Stella asked, what is it with these gas planets? They are not places I want to be. Stella sighed. Okay, that leaves the dwarf planet Pluto. It's also cold and far from the sun. We've never really been that close to Pluto to see what is there. It might look like this, but we really don't know at the moment. What I do know is that it's so very far away and cold, you would freeze the moment you got there, said Steve. All right, so I just made a text to the World Connection. Pluto was considered a planet at one time, but scientists now decided that it's considered a dwarf planet because it's too small to be a normal planet. So I heard that on the news. So my mind just made a connection as I was reading about Pluto that that's what Pluto is now considered a dwarf planet. What's out there even farther in space, Stella asked. Beyond Pluto, there are chunks of rock and small dwarf planets, ice, and even interstellar space. The next star would take thousands of years for us to reach. Some people think that there are more stars in the galaxy than grains of sand in the world. Who knows what is out there, said Steve. You know, Steve, Stella said, it's actually not so bad to live here on Earth. Steve nodded. None of the other planets in our solar system are friendly like this. We should really appreciate our planet because it's the only one that's right for us. Oh, look at that. And they're sitting outside in the park in the grass, enjoying all the things that the Earth gives us. But somewhere out there, there could be another Earth. Who knows? All right, well, I hope you enjoyed our story today called Stella and Steve Travel Through Space. Maya, did you like that? How come you don't know all those things about the solar system, huh? You don't know all those things that Steve knows. Bye, guys. Have a great day. Thanks for listening. See you next time. I hope you have a wonderful day.